requirement A, we need to prepare the tax rate reconciliation and remember to include a brief explanation for each reconciling item. Now, when you look at requirement A and B, both of them relate to audit issue 1. In requirement B, we need to calculate the deferred tax amount that shall be included in our income tax expense note. Now, guys, my personal opinion, due to the fact that both of these requirements relate to audit issue number 1, I will combine my attempt of requirement A and requirement B. Now, what do I mean with combine the attempt? I need my deferred tax calculation to be able to complete my tax rate reconciliation. Yes, I know in my tax rate reconciliation, I do not include my movement in my temporary difference. But in my tax rate reconciliation, I do need to determine the unused tax loss of the prior year and the fact that we have a prior deductible temporary difference that we may now recognize our deferred tax asset. And I need this in my tax rate reconciliation. Now, let me explain to you exactly what I mean. Refer to the templates that I've provided you guys with. Income tax expense note, left side of your screen, consists out of 1, our current tax expense, 2, deferred tax expense, and 3, our foreign tax. Now, when you look at the deferred tax expense section, this deferred tax, this relates to our requirement B. We need to calculate the total deferred tax expense. Now, when you look at your tax rate reconciliation, your tax rate reconciliation will include, now important guys, will include the loss created in terms of our assessed loss, and then the prior deductible temporary difference deferred tax asset that we may recognize. Why? When you look at a tax rate recon, remember the total of our income tax, this pinkish block, should agree to our tax rate recon, the pinkish block. Therefore, my recommendation, add details to your templates that you need to remember. And our tax rate recon relates to our requirement A of this question. Therefore, as I have mentioned, I will combine my attempt of requirement A and B. On a new page, I will indicate to my marker that this will be my part A. I will include my tax rate reconciliation template. Ensure that you leave sufficient lines open to add any relevant information. On the next page, I will indicate to my marker that this is part B, and this will be my deferred tax expense calculation. Again, remember to leave sufficient lines open. And on a new page, indicate that this is your calculations page, and I will include my deferred tax calculation. Okay, so guys, you have a choice. When you look at the requirement, you have a choice. You can either one, complete your total income tax expense, and that total amount you can then use to complete your tax recon, which does make sense, guys. Now, this is your option number 1. Option number 2, you can complete your tax rate recon immediately. Now, from a timing point of view, I will prefer that you practice to follow option number 2. I do understand if you follow option number 1, this most probably will be helpful because you will be able to identify the amount that it should be, and then you will be able to complete your recon. But you can still do this in calculations, guys. But I want you to please practice option number 2, to immediately start off with your tax recon, and then when you read through the information provided, you need to be able to identify the information that you actually need. Because remember, guys, there will be information that you do not need, and some of them you will need. Okay, now let's refer back to the given information and start completing our deferred tax calculation.